guys a minute to come in here, if anybody comes in at all. The lockdown on my channel is in overdrive. Why is the lockdown in overdrive? About 4 to 6 months ago, they put the lockdown on all channels that are antagonistic toward the current communist in power. So any channel that's spoken bad about the regime in power at the White House is on lockdown. Now I'll give you this much. My channel I never get many views. Ever. They will not let me share my voice. They're not going to do it. But it is never as low as just 60 or 70 views. Normally, I average about 130 to 140. That's how locked down my channel is. No, it's because people don't want to hear what you got to say. You're a crazy redneck meth head, and we don't want to listen to them kind of people. What's up, Zoloft? Totally untrue. I've had so many people tell me I can't even find you. I can't, from my home, from my base, on this phone, find my channel. I can type the name of my channel in, exactly what it is, and I still cannot find it. I have to go to my YouTube studio just to bring up my own channel. That's how hidden my channel is. People can't find my live streams. They can't find anything. No one gets notifications. Totally locked down. Well, it went into overdrive due to the election. Now, I don't know how many people watched it. It was exactly this debate was exactly the same as the last debate 4 years ago. Nothing has changed. Joe Biden's gotten a little worse, but nothing has changed. That's why I have such a hard time. Man, I like to have all that insulation. Dang, boys, I could use all that. Man, I need that stuff. Anyway, I just, in my heart of hearts, I know that nobody's going to save America. Okay? There is no saving America. If you guys watched the debate, you saw how terrible it was for Joe Biden. But of course, in studio, Gavin Newsom was right there. Right now, every person in the voting hemisphere, any person that's running a game, running commercials, they need to start just every day, put a commercial on TV from the streets of California. That's all you do. Go to the streets of California and film it. Film the open air drug markets. Film them pooping on the sidewalks. Film all that. Now ask yourself, why would a state put up with that? The devil is in control. Me and Mason used to watch the show Hoarders. Hoarders, you know, where the people pile up stuff. That's demonic. What those people are going through, it's demonic. My pop, who's my best friend that passed away a couple years ago, he was a hoarder. What happened is a spirit of fear took his life over. And what I mean by that is he was like me, a hard worker. He's into construction. He had a big, beautiful house. He had everything in the world he ever wanted. And then at like 55 years old, he had a massive heart attack. So here he is. He can't work. He's totally just cannot provide for himself. So everything that he worked so hard for in his life, he had to sell just to survive. So it was that spirit of fear from the devil. It was that spirit of fear that told him we have to hold everything. We have to keep everything. If it's trash, if it's junk, whatever it is, I have to keep it because I may need it. And listen, I have the same hoarding tendencies from where my life was destroyed because of this program. It's the spirit of fear that says, oh, I can get something for this. I can make something out of that. This can be used to save me in the future. That spirit of fear. The same thing is going on in California. With hoarders, it's that most of the people that are hoarders, it's that spirit of fear because they've had some kind of trauma when they were younger. Someone they loved has died and left them that way, or the people that raised them were hoarders as well. It's hereditary, which hereditary is another word for generational curses. Generational curses. That's what hereditary means. So everything that these people do, and just like when people say, well, there was a demonic spirit and I smelled sulfur, rotting eggs. They love to be in that environment where they don't care about themselves. I don't know if you guys remember the story. It was out of North Carolina where the guy killed a bunch of people, and buried the bodies in the backyard, and then he supposedly committed suicide. Vice just did a story on it, but the whole house was trash. Feces everywhere, blood all over the house. I mean, it was just destroyed. It was that death. And the Bible talk about kind of like necromancy, where they worship death. You know, skulls all over them, and they love blood and gore, and everything's black. It's straight evil, and that evil has taken over everything in America. So if we get back to what's happening, the destruction of our nation, the Democrat Party has backed themselves in a corner because they cannot step over a black woman to be president. Kamala Harris, nobody likes her. She'd never win. But Gavin Newsom is sitting right there. Now, Roger Stone is a man I put a lot of faith in. Roger Stone is a very intelligent man. You won't hear from Roger Stone anymore because they shut down Alex Jones's channel. They shut down his whole entire network. Tell me how the government can run in and take everything. Well, I can tell you, they did the same thing to me. Instead, they didn't take it from me. They screwed me so bad it was stolen by everyone else. It wasn't the government, it's everyone else around me that took what was mine, because they crushed my ability to work. They crushed my will to survive. Still here now. What's up, JSO? These people are evil. So what do? Do they bring Gavin Newsom in? It doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? The world saw that Donald Trump was the victor last night. The world saw it. But if you looked on Donald Trump's face the whole time during that, his body language was saying, in what bizarro world am I even competing? Why am I even in a competition with this person who probably doesn't even know how to find a restroom to use it? Doesn't even know how to wipe himself. In what world am I an alpha male, a success at near everything I've ever done, and yet I'm on a stage and I have somehow lost to this in the past? Because he didn't. And all the people that say, oh, the court, and Joe Biden said last night, oh, the courts, none of the court, all the courts determined that you didn't get cheated. That didn't happen. Every court, and this was all by design, all Barack Obama had to do is put the judges that he knew would listen to him in the right positions all over the country. Once you have the right judges, then all they have to do is say, nah, we don't want to hear the case. And that's what happened. Not many of the election fraud cases even made it inside the courtroom. They said, no, not gonna do it. John Roberts, Supreme Court, nah, not gonna do it. Why? Well, John Roberts is a pedophile. There's witness testimony that he sold his own children into sexual abuse, sold them, traded them to get the job he has now. You see, the Supreme Court judges don't determine, they don't, and this is the fallacy, that the myth that people are under, that every case that goes to Supreme Court is heard. No, it's not. Interns at the Supreme Court decide which case comes through. So all it takes is a phone call. Hey, pass on this case. just like the Supreme Court did last week in the presidential immunity. Nah, I don't think we're going to take it. Pass it on back to the state. Everything is controlled. If you have the right judge in the right place, you can hold up everything. Look, everything that Donald Trump did the last time he was in office to save our country, there was a judge ready to go to war and stop him. And they did. Just like when Donald Trump wanted to shut down the border, nope, there's a judge standing in the way. Lawfare is the new way to destroy Americans. It's the new way to control every single person in this country. How do I know? Well, it's been used against me. How? Well, they just set the cord up. They get social services to come in behind you and steal your children, and then everybody says this man is evil. And then what happens? Then all the soft-hearted wackos, oh, it's bad, it's dangerous. We have to save the children from their father. No, what are we ever gonna do? It's that bad. Anybody? How many people are in here? I've got to go in here and get the zip ties. I'm at Harbor Freight. It doesn't matter. Once you realize that they've been appointing presidents for years, and listen, it was just sheer luck that Donald Trump got in there to begin with. They just something went wrong. If nothing else, God stepped in and said, okay, we're going to stop this. God gave us a chance to open our eyes and turn back to Him. And what happened? What happened? How many people turned back around to God? Your eyes are opened up to see how bad it was. I'm here first live in a while. What's up, Jack? You should get notifications added hours to the stream. Well, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm glad you're here, though. Hopefully I can stay on long enough to do this. You'll have to pardon me as I purchase a few things. It's, ain't nobody gonna save us. They have a million ways to kill Donald Trump if they want to. YouTube isn't showing accurate viewer count. Well, when I look at my views, like that last live stream I did, they only showed 25 people viewed it. Give me a minute, I'm going to cash register. Just fine. No.
Would you like a bag?
No, that's okay. Get one free?
No.
Oh,
$11.09 is your total.
Thank you so much, dear. Have a good day. All right, I've escaped. It doesn't matter. They could have killed Donald Trump a long time ago, but it's only. And listen, guys. How do I say this? When I told you guys that I heard God tell me that I had to see, that He had to let me see how easily Donald Trump, how easy we could be fooled, that's always been a hard decision to say that, because I know, even me, with the experiences that I've had with V2K, voice to skull, weapons, how hard it is to discern from God and the Holy Spirit and these weapons. It's very difficult to know, to discern it. And that's why you have to have a spirit of discernment. Because if you don't, the next thing you know, you'll be up in a school doing bad things to innocent children. Just like we've seen repeatedly in the news, which happens every day. I firmly believe, this is my belief, and I can be totally wrong, and I've been wrong before, but you know, I've never lied to you. I have never, and no one on here can go back in all my videos. If you can find them, because the channels that hate me still have my video, like Burger Douche. He's got all my videos saved, so he can go back in time and take my video and play it for everybody and edit it the way he wants to. But do you think they'll replace Biden with someone else? Oh, absolutely. They're replacing Biden. Halfway through the debate last night, they said, oh, Biden has a cold. Yes, he does. His brain has had a flu for many years. And listen, this is what people don't understand. Obama's running the country. This is all planned. Obama even said it. He said, I dream of a day where I could sit in my basement in my jogging pants and have someone else run the show, and all I have to do is, just call it in. Well, how did Obama get Joe Biden to do that? Obama knew how corrupt Joe Biden was to start with. How is America right now how haven't they been demanding his removal? Listen, this tells you how corrupt the Republicans are. They know how guilty he is, and yet they're waiting till now to even think about doing anything about Joe Biden. They've investigated Hunter. It's a time going after Hunter, because all his daddy's got to do is say he's pardoned, and that's going to happen. And with Joe Biden, all they got to do is they'll say he's dead. Like they'll say Jeffrey Epstein hung himself. No, Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. They put Big Mama Michelle in Biden's place. It's game over. Yes, because Michelle will win. And it's dishonest for me to even call her Michelle. Everybody know I know that's a man. You know that's a man. And there's a video going around on YouTube Shorts, and it shows some of the presidents' wives from some of the very earliest presidents in our nation, and every one of them look like men. Look at Barbara Bush and tell me that ain't a man. Barbara Bush, the granddaughter of Aleister Crowley. What? Barbara Bush, the granddaughter of Aleister Crowley? I think it's amazing that even Hillary would have a better chance this year. Listen, the election between Trump and Hillary wasn't even as close as they said it was. Trump blew Biden out last time. I don't care what you say. Ask yourself, how many people voted for Joe Biden last time around? Even if no matter where you're at in this country, how many times did you go down the road and you saw a Joe Biden sign in the yard? The whole point of this charade known as voting, especially now, is to make you so disgusted with America and its basic principles that you will be more than willing to accept a different form of government. Do you understand that? That's what they're doing. They're showing us, just like with if you're me, you're not going to win in the legal system. Donald Trump, he's not going to win in the legal system. If you'll go, and it's what's his name? Mike. It's got My Pillow. Mike Lindell. He's got a website, and it lists everything that was in the Hunter Biden computer. Everything in that laptop. Every single crime. The human trafficking, the child trafficking, the drug trafficking, the human smuggling, everything. The billions that we gave to Ukraine, the billions that Joe Biden got from Russia, everything is on that website. In 51 security intelligence official says that's Russian disinformation. You're believing the same people who said weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Why did we go after Iraq? Because they were dumping the petrodollar. That's the only reason we invaded Iraq. The petrodollar. They were going to give it up and go on the gold standard like Libya was attempting to do. So they're destroying everything that made America safe. And here's the thing about the petrodollar. They're dumping it because the world doesn't have faith in it. They know, for one, and Trump was the first person to say this, that China was devaluing their currency. And the reason they do that is to make their currency worth more money. How do you devalue it and make it worth more? They would devalue their currency for the world, knowing it was worth more in China, especially on the exchange rate. So the same applies with what's going on. If we hate America enough with all this lawfare, no one trusts America any longer. They see how corrupt it is. And have you noticed, not one debate that anyone has listened to, no one says the word George Soros. No one says that name. It never leaves their mouth. When this started, everything we're one man. Now it's a collective now of how many want to destroy us. And listen, if you're watching, I can't remember the guy's name. It's Yuri something or other, but he was a former KGB agent. And they started in the late 60s with the hippies to destroy America. And what are the hippies? Oh, they're just a bunch of pot-smoking morons. Well, those pot-smoking morons have been professors in our colleges for the last 30 years. And they've warped an entire generations, plural. So this is the fallacy of every news channel out there. The ones who are true and who are honest still will not stand up and say the last election was stolen. Just the laptop alone. If no intelligence agencies would have lied, if the story would not have been suppressed, just that laptop theory, that would have persuaded enough voters to win. But I know in my heart, because I saw the evidence, that it was stolen. Why? Because they showed that my vote did not go to where I cast it. They said my vote didn't even exist. They took me off the voter rolls after I voted. Doesn't even show where my vote went. That happened to millions. And when I called the elections supervisor in my area, not a call back from any of them. Repeated calls and no one returned my call. Again, my firm belief is war. That's how they get out of it. Now, they're going to have to get someone in there, but listen, let me tell you this that I know. And I'm going to veer off a little bit, but if you guys remember the South Carolina shooter Dylan Roof, who supposedly went up into a black church and shot a bunch of black people going to church, remember that? That was a false flag, okay? What did they say? That they put him in prison. Okay, go find him. Go find what prison he's in. Here's a better one. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand woman. Go find her in a prison. They'll tell you where she's supposed to be, but how do you know? Oh, we got a lockdown. She's not allowed to talk to anybody. Go to the prison and find her. All they got to do is tell you they're there. So Donald Trump wanted to debate. It was sad, because listen, you could take me in the shape I'm in right now and put me next to another 48, 49-year-old person, and you can tell a remarkable difference between my fitness, my mental acuity, anything. And then the same applies with Donald Trump. That man is just as sharp. He's a little slower now because he's 80-some years old. But it was an insult for that man to be on stage. And listen, that man has sacrificed all for this country. But everything they did to Alex Jones, everything they did and are continuing to do to Donald Trump, it was all done to targeted individuals first. They used the system on all of us to destroy us, while telling the public at large, we're saving you from these evil people. These people are crazy. They have to gaslight you. They have to destroy your reputation first. And then they watch you in play. Because once your reputation is destroyed, then no one is willing to stand up for you. And when you're completely alone and you have no resources, it's near impossible to fight for yourself. Near impossible to defend yourself in any reasonable way. So, they're putting Joe Biden out. And they warned, and I don't know if you guys saw it, they warned ahead of time. They said, there may be a medical emergency tonight. Because they didn't know if they were going to kill Joe Biden on stage. And how do they kill somebody on stage? Well, it's easy. They got directed energy weapons. They have a heart attack gun. If you don't know about the heart attack gun, that came out in the MK Ultra disclosures back in the late 70s, where they have a heart attack and they just point it at you, shut your heart down. I mean, they've used that heart attack gun on me. All this is a frequency. So anytime they want Joe Biden out of here, they can do it. But he's still the useful idiot. Obama's still in charge. There's nothing that you can do. Just like Mark Twain said, if voting mattered, if voting was honest, they wouldn't let us do it. You know? If voting counted, they wouldn't let us do it. It's all just a placebo to make us feel better about ourselves. No matter what happens, America's done. So, my prediction, and I pray to God that I'm wrong, but I know what God's word says. You can see the contrast between Donald Trump and Joe Biden and what we've been stuck with the last 3 years. That's God's wrath. God said, you mock me? You mock me? You refuse to do what I command you to do? I gave you the most beautiful country in the world. I gave you the most resources of any country in the world. And you abuse my children? You cut the genitals off my little ones. You mock me. You openly celebrate homosexuality, which sexual degeneration is one of God's most hated sins. You do all this, so I will do the same to you. And how does God do it? He stands back and let the devil do what the devil's going to do. Then they're talking about putting someone else to run after last night. Well, they are. Like I said, Gavin Newsom was right there, but it doesn't matter. I firmly believe that we're going to be in the war. Before voting begins, I firmly believe that World War III will be on the ground in America. I firmly believe that. There's nothing in my body that there's nothing not a scenario I can think of that where that's not going to happen. Once they do that, they can deny elections, just like they did in Ukraine. They're already rounding up. I mean, they've silenced me. They've silenced Alex Jones. Anybody that speaks out, they have shut down and silenced. So they're doing anything and everything they want to do. All bets are off. And there may be a time pretty soon where you don't see me again. And it won't be because of my choice. It'll be because they have silenced me in one extreme way or the other. All nations that forget will be turned to hell. Absolutely. But in my heart, I feel that we will be in World War III. Because remember the last time, they used COVID as the excuse to say, oh, people are too sick. They can't leave their homes. They have to do mail-in voting. Well, with the mail-in voting, that's how they help steal the election. Not to mention, all they got to do is, and I saw this, and nobody would listen because it sounds so crazy, is in all the, and I saw for myself that the thermostats in all the buildings where the voting machines are, all the thermostats had Wi-Fi access, and they were communicating with something, someone, somewhere. The thermostats on the walls were communicating with an outside source, which then communicated with the voting machines. So, and it was in California the other day, a black man was arrested he had just gotten hired at an election center, and he stole one of the security keys and disappeared with it. I mean, they went to his home and found it. Why would he steal? And the election official said, "Oh, that security key wouldn't give him any access to change any votes." The same system is in place right now that was in place back then. Dominion voting machines owned by George Soros are still there. I mean, you can go back and put on you can put on YouTube, man hacks voting machine, shows it to board. And the man will show you right then and there. He can walk up to the machine within 3 minutes. He can hack that whole freaking machine just by putting something in it, and it'll tabulate anything. Just like last time the voting was going on, a vote for Trump went for Biden. A vote for Trump went for Biden. And when that didn't turn the election enough, everybody went to bed. Donald Trump was the undisputed winner. By 4 o'clock in the morning, votes just arrived in boxes. Just arrived. Millions of votes, 99-1 for Joe Biden. So we're under God's wrath, and it is terrifying what's going to happen. There is no saving America. So, as I said, prepare for war. Prepare for the lights to go out. You can say I'm crazy all you want. That's okay. Anybody can talk. You can talk about me any way you want to. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep doing what God wants me to do. I hope that, I'll never do it as good as God wants me to. With the mind control and the directed energy weapons that's being used on me, I can't even remember when I need to be praying. They know that as soon as I wake up in the morning, I want to start praying, but they'll cause me to sleep later. They'll cause me to wake up later. I mean, they can control any part of my body. Listen, they can control, and they are controlling everyone out there. I watched a video where a woman was talking about how they control us through resonant frequency. And so I went in the comments, I was like, yeah, resonant frequency through your DNA, they control you with directed energy weapons. And then this chick from North Carolina, single mom, of course, because no man would want her. This chick from North Carolina says, I just couldn't get over the fact of how disheveled she was and how dirty the house was and stuff was piled to the ceiling. I said, I can't imagine. Well, I mean, I can. I said, imagine a person trying so hard to warn you of what's to come, and all you left-wing moonbeams can do is talk about what they look like, what they sound like, their surroundings. You can't say, wow, this person's trying to save my life. Oh, no, look, your shocks don't match. Bizarre. There's the deer meat that I left on the counter. 2 pounds lost. Anyway, I'm out. God bless. See you later.